Aloha friends, you're looking through a petunia flower. So today is petunia vision. Have you always felt that something was going to happen? Have you always been taught that something was going to happen? Has all of humanity been sort of led down the path of something is going to happen? And maybe the deceivers got us to think that the something that's going to happen is that you're going to die. That's the something that's going to happen. Misdirection. And since it's so-called provable, and the proof would be all the cemeteries that are around. There's the proof that something's going to happen, and that something that's going to happen is you're going to die. And so instead of going down the path of, let us say, intuition, because intuitively you feel and know and sort of expect that something is going to happen. But since we've been so disconnected from self, and we've become so associated with the avatar and its mind basically is just a big hunk of amnesia. Meaning the only thing that you really remember is stuff that you've done in this life. And on the cosmic, according to the cosmic clock, you've been here a millisecond. So how much knowledge and wisdom and information could you really have? Oh, well, I did 4 years at Harvard or Oxford. Oh, really? 4 years. So that's like 0.04 milliseconds. So in 0.04 milliseconds, you were able to gather and contain and hold all this knowledge and wisdom in that avatar brain, and somehow think that you got a pretty good handle on anything. So we've been duped. We've been so duped in so many ways. But if we could get past that amnesiatic, two-hemisphered, broken in half brain and reconnect with all the wisdom and knowledge that we accumulated over the course of thousands of years and hundreds of lives, then you would immediately be up to date. you would immediately be beyond all the things that are still tripping humans up and causing them to fall down and skin up their knees and their hands. But the first, well, maybe not the first, but I mean, this is never going to happen for anybody that can't comprehend this right here. Meaning, if this is just relegated to fantasy land or imagination. But again, I would remind you to realize that from imagination, everything that was created or is created was created. So don't downplay imagination, because everything you know came from it. And now that you think now that we think we know so much, we want to sort of shrug our shoulders at imagination. But see, I tend to believe that we're going to need to strengthen and re-legitimize imagination so that we may imagine our way out of what we have imagined our way into. So if you're gonna tap this information, right? If you're gonna experience this wisdom, first you've got to find it. And somebody like me will say, well, it's within you. And you might say, well, that sounds fine, but that really doesn't help me much, because what does that even mean? It's within me. Well, at least you know you don't have to go on some trek across the earth plane to try to find it. It's just within you. So if you could merely take the trek within to find it, I mean, you're not going to have the excuse of I don't have a car, or I don't have enough gas money, or I don't have the proper insurance on my spaceship to travel to those places. In other words, nothing can stop you from traveling within yourself. Plenty of things could stop you from traveling laterally. Right? Walls. Don't we love walls? Aren't humans really into walls and borders and fences? Don't we like to designate that which we consider ours? And these create boxes. Boxes are made of walls. So this information is within you. You can tap into it. You can find it. You will find it. I guarantee every single person out there will find it, even if you're still at the place where you're still in Piscean belief mode and you still think, reality consists of everything physical is real, and the creator is a God that is up someplace whilst you're down here someplace. And in a way that's true, because if we're talking about frequency, then that makes sense. But if we're talking about physically, then it doesn't make sense. So again, you were given a half-truth. They didn't explain what it means. You came to false conclusions, and you've built and are continuing to build your external reality based on falsehoods, which places you in a false reality. Many, many, many people. Well, let's just say all people. Let's put everybody in the same boat, because we're all in the same boat, because we're all one. So humans created a false reality for themselves based on half-truths that they interpreted wrong, or somebody else interpreted wrong for them. But this is not about beating yourself up for ending up in a false reality, because we all did it, and we all do it. Well, did it, do it. You may still be doing it, and if you're done doing it, then you did it. But where are we now? We're getting closer to reality. And where is this information that's within? It's in the DNA. It's in your DNA. Your DNA is the software for the hardware, which is the body. Okay, so now it doesn't seem so far away, because you know that you have DNA, right? And you know that the DNA that you have is within you, right? Now, you may not know that you can do anything about it, or know that you can plug into it, or know that you can reprogram it, or any of that. But see, that's why you're here. You're learning. We're learning. And again, they wanted to, boxes. They compartmentalized everything. Everything was in boxes. And you're made to believe that if certain things are in certain boxes, then those boxes are off limits to you. You have to go to the professionals. So you have to go to a scientist. He's got to tell you how they've labeled all the parts and pieces, and what the labels of the parts and pieces mean. And see, you're getting into this external world, which is, hey, my petunia's blown away. You get into this external world where once you're in this external world looking at the parts and pieces, which are metaphors and symbols, you've already gotten kind of away from the actual process that brought it about to begin with. In other words, the creation, once it's created, is already, by that time, you've already, let's say, missed what created it. Or because you created it. Or we created it. However you want to say it. Because you and we are, it's the same. We're the same. Your mind is going to try to fight it and say, no, there's no way we can be the same. He's him and I'm me, so we're not the same. But I guarantee you, if you're a human, we're the same. And maybe I should make a distinction right here, because there is a slight distinction, I guess, between NPCs, non-playing characters, and activated souls. Okay, but see, the NPCs are our creation. Meaning, not only are we projecting our physical bodies through consciousness, but then we're also projecting the NPCs, which are we call them an NPC is a non-playing character, but it's not so much that they're non-playing. They're playing. They're playing their part. They're playing their role, but they're unactivated souls. They don't have souls. Or another way to say that is they don't have their frequency doesn't go that high. They're dense, very dense. So the denser something is, the less activated it is. But see, this is not about good or bad. So it's not bad. I'm not saying a rock is very dense. So is a rock bad? No, a rock's not bad. Well, it's very dense. Yeah, it's very dense. So it remains in its realm. Rocks. Anyway, we're getting into material, which is different. Material and consciousness are different. So in other words, the rock doesn't have a choice about what realm it could reside in. It could reside in any realm because it's a rock. Whereas you are a sentient co-creator with the ability to make choices about your frequency or about your state of consciousness or about what you co-create. Therefore, you are held to a, let us say, degree of accountability. And that accountability could end up being a consequence, meaning if you create ignorance and karma places, let's say karma ends up pushing you to the next outer realm when this event fully takes place concerning this changing of age from Pisces to Aquarius completes. We're in the process now. It's happening now. You can see evidence of, well, you may not know what it is. See, there's so many people. The whole world is experiencing something, right? And everybody's got their opinion and feeling and intuition, let us say, about what it is. But since none of us have experienced it that we remember, see, we've all experienced this before, but since we don't remember, because we're in the earth plane with amnesia, we're not quite sure. But see, those of us that have taken the journey within and we're reconnecting and we're tapping into the DNA, we're tapping into the memories and the knowledge and wisdom, let's say, that we have gained over the course of all these thousands of years, that was taking us somewhere, that was the purpose behind it all. See, seemingly somehow the purpose of everything, or let us say the purpose of life, got blocked or stopped. And it's like the purposeness that we used to feel just being alive and being a human we've become numb to it. We've become disconnected from the purpose. Until now everybody feels like, hey, we're all cogs in this big machine that is trying to reinvent nature. Just like all the technology basically tries to reinvent human. Cameras instead of eyes, recording devices instead of ears, computers instead of brains, internets instead of nervous systems. And slowly but surely we're turning nature into a giant factory farm. And so nobody feels good about that. Nobody wants to experience life like that, including the poor animals that are in those factory farms, which is a whole nother topic. But see, we're coming back. We're remembering. Would you like multiple existences in a factory farm as a cow or a pig? Well, that's about what it's becoming to be human here. Right? And I think we all know this and feel this and sense this. But here we are at the cusp of a huge change, the event. And it's going to mean, see, there's nobody that can tell you, well, what does it mean? What's going to happen? Nobody can tell you what it means fully or what's going to happen fully, because again, it's all based on frequencies and consciousness levels, and different things are going to happen for different people based on that. So if you could tell me what your frequency is, I could tell you what's going to happen to you. If you have a high frequency and you've worked on self, and you've been working on self, and you're still working on self, then nothing but goodness is going to happen for you. This is going to be great for us. I know that. Even if some sort of a storm is associated with it. In other words, don't be afraid. Don't fear. If you've done what you're supposed to do, you've followed intuition, you have an open heart, you have a functioning heart, you have done the work, or doing the work. Because you don't finish. You're not going to ever finish doing the work. You're not ever going to be done. We're not ever going to arrive anywhere. But we arrived here, so I guess that's not completely true. What I mean by saying we're not going to arrive is meaning you don't have a final destination where, okay, now we're in heaven and there's nothing left to do. I'm going to sum it all up with just by saying this, and then I'm going to be done with this one for today. A lot of suffering is about to end. Now think about this in context of what I just said with that, is that if you come across a wounded, suffering animal, we consider it humane to stop its suffering, right? A lot of earthly suffering is about to end. Interpret it how you will. Until next time, wholeness and healing, my friends.